Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today we're going to be putting on our detective hats for a deep dive into the world of due diligence. But not just any detective. We're uncovering the methods of a true enigma.
Precisely.
The name shrouded in mystery. A bit of a legend in the field.
That's Alan Smithy.
Alan Smithy, yeah.
And in the world of high-stakes due diligence, he's a phantom and unseen force who operates with remarkable success. And that's no coincidence. His anonymity is central to his effectiveness.
Good call.
When you're dealing with powerful entities, maintaining a low profile is crucial.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, hide in plain sight.
It allows you to move unseen, gather information without raising alarms.
So we're talking about investigations where staying hidden is as important as the information itself.
Exactly, and that's where Smithy excels.
Okay.
Our deep dive today centers on a document he authored, an unlikely model for the due diligence detective. In it, he reveals his unique approach, drawing inspiration from, believe it or not, a classic TV detective.
Now you've got to tell me who this is because I'm racking my brain.
None other than Lieutenant Columbo.
Yeah, here.
You know the rumpled raincoat?
Oh, yeah.
The seemingly rambling questions?
Yep.
Smithy draws this fascinating parallel between Columbo's methods and effective due diligence.
Okay, this is going to be good. I can already tell. So what does a fictional TV detective have to do with the high-stakes world of due diligence?
Well, Smithy recounts a particular Columbo episode that perfectly illustrates this connection.
Okay.
Columbo suspects someone in a group, but he needs proof. He knows the culprit wears a specific ring,
Uh-huh.
a tiny detail easily overlooked.
Okay.
Now, a conventional approach might involve, direct questioning,
Right.
but that could backfire, scare the target into silence.
Makes sense. Subtlety over force, right?
Precisely. Instead of a direct confrontation, Columbo pretends to be interested in palmistry.
Yeah.
He goes around the room examining everyone's hands, offering these theatrical, almost comical readings,
Right.
but all the while.
He's looking for the ring.
Exactly. And when he gets to his suspect, he casually reaches for their hand. The suspect, completely unsuspecting, extends it.
Wow.
Columbo gets confirmation he's found his culprit, all without raising any alarms.
Brilliant. So what Smithy's saying is sometimes the best way to uncover the truth is not to be intimidating at all.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Wow.
It's about disarming targets, making them feel comfortable enough to reveal information they might otherwise guard closely.
Okay.
This is the essence of what Smithy calls
What's that?
the power of dumb.
The power of dumb. Okay, let's unpack that.
Sure.
It's not about actually being clueless, right?
Right. It's about projecting a certain image of being less experienced, less knowledgeable than you actually are.
So playing dumb, but with a very strategic purpose.
Absolutely.
Fab.
By appearing non-threatening, you encourage people to open up to explain things in simpler terms. They're less likely to suspect you're onto them, less likely to put up walls.
It's like that saying, it's better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Except here, you're using it to your advantage.
Precisely. Remember, Smithy often navigates complex industries. He might not be an expert in every field,
Sure.
but he doesn't pretend to be. He embraces the role of the student, the learner,
So instead of trying to be the smartest person in the room, he's the one asking the dumb questions.
and those dumb questions are his secret weapon.
How so?
They disarm people, break down complex jargon, and expose inconsistencies that someone trying to impress him might overlook.
I can see how that would be incredibly effective, but it must take incredible discipline to pull that off. You'd have to really commit to the role.
Absolutely, and that's what sets Smithy apart. He understands that sometimes the key to unlocking the truth lies in mastering the art of subtle inquiry.
It's like that scene in every detective movie, where the suspect thinks they can outsmart the detective with big words or convoluted explanations. But little do they know.
Little do they know the detective is already 10 steps ahead, playing the long game.
Exactly. So we've got this power of dumb at play. What other advantages does Smithy say this approach offers in a due diligence context?
Well, for one, it opens doors. People are more willing to talk openly to someone they don't perceive as a threat, someone who's genuinely trying to learn.
It's about building trust, creating a rapport.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this trust is invaluable, especially when you're trying to unravel complex situations. By encouraging his targets to explain things simply, Smithy can cut through the noise, the jargon, and expose potential inconsistencies or misrepresentations.
It forces them to think through their own words, to reveal more than they intended.
Precisely.
Wow.
And because Smithy comes across as non-confrontational, people are less likely to clam up or resort to evasive tactics.
Makes sense.
It creates a space for honesty to emerge, even if it's buried under the layers of ego or complexity.
It's a brilliant but unconventional approach.
Yeah,
But I imagine it's not without its challenges, right?
you're right. No strategy is foolproof.
So what are some of the potential pitfalls of playing the green analyst, as Smithy calls it?
For one, it can be incredibly time-consuming.
Okay.
Building trust takes time, whereas direct questioning can often yield faster results.
It's the difference between going in guns blazing and slowly earning someone's trust.
Exactly. And then there's the patience factor.
Yeah.
Maintaining that green analyst persona day in and day out demands incredible focus and discipline.
It takes a certain personality type to pull that off effectively. Not everyone can play the long game like that.
You're absolutely right. But Smithy takes it even further.
Oh.
He doesn't just wait for openings, he creates them.
Now that's interesting. How does he do that?
Remember how we talked about Smithy using this persona to encourage people to open up?
Right.
Well, he takes it a step further. He'll deliberately engineer situations where he appears to make mistakes.
He makes mistakes on purpose. Isn't that risky?
Yeah.
I mean, what if people catch on?
It might seem counterintuitive, but bear with me. Smithy argues that these aren't real errors, they're calculated missteps. And they can be incredibly disarming. It plays into that universal human desire to correct others, to share knowledge.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
People, especially those in positions of power or expertise, often can't resist explaining, clarifying, setting the record straight.
I see. So it's like a magician using misdirection. While everyone's focused on the supposed mistake, Smithy's gathering crucial information in the background.
Precisely.
Wow.
And because he's already established himself as someone who's eager to learn, someone who values their expertise, those he's investigating let their guard down. They don't see it as a trap because in their minds, they're in control.
Okay, start to see how this works. But give me a concrete example. How would this calculated error strategy play out in a real due diligence scenario?
Let's say Smithy is investigating a company that claims to have revolutionary, eco-friendly manufacturing processes.
It's a hot topic these days.
Absolutely. Now, instead of directly challenging their claims, he might ask about a specific technical term, feigning a lack of understanding. He might even misinterpret a data point in their sustainability report.
Something that seems like an honest mistake someone new to the field might make.
Exactly.
Well-
Someone at the company eager to demonstrate their own knowledge or worried about a potential misunderstanding might over-explain. They might delve into the intricacies of their process, revealing details or even inconsistencies that Smithy wouldn't have uncovered otherwise.
Fascinating. So, by seeming to stumble, he's actually setting a trap for the truth to emerge.
Precisely. It's a subtle dance, and it requires a deep understanding of human psychology. But when done correctly, it can yield incredibly valuable insights.
It's about turning what most people would consider a weakness into an advantage. This whole approach is making me think back to our deep dive on the case of the not ready for primetime players.
Oh, yes, a classic. The one about overcoming your own insecurities to ask the tough questions.
Exactly. And what's interesting is how this case with Alan Smithy seems to be a perfect companion piece. If the first lesson was, don't be intimidated so you'll ask the right questions.
Then this lesson is definitely, don't intimidate so you'll get the right answers.
You've got it. It's about creating an environment where the truth can surface organically. But as we've discussed, this approach, while effective, isn't without its challenges. It requires a great deal of finesse and a deep understanding of human nature.
You're absolutely right. It's not just about acting clueless. It's about knowing when to play dumb, how much to reveal, and when to push for more information. It's a delicate dance.
It makes me wonder, aside from the calculated errors, what other techniques does Smithy use to maintain this delicate balance?
Well, one of the things Smithy emphasizes is the importance of...
It sounds like walking a tightrope. You need to stay in character, earn their trust, but also be ready to catch those crucial reveals.
You've got it. That's why, according to Smithy, one skill reigns supreme in this line of work.
Let me guess. It's not about being the smartest person in the room, but the most observant.
Close. But what ties everything together, that essential element for long-term success in this field, is patience.
Patience. Okay, I get it with the power of dumb. You're playing the long game. But is patience really the secret weapon?
Absolutely. Smithy argues that impatience trips up a lot of investigators. They rush in, eager for that quick win, that smoking gun. But in the process, they miss those subtle cues, those seemingly insignificant details that can make all the difference.
So it's not just about being patient with the people you're investigating, but also being patient with the process itself.
Exactly. Due diligence is rarely linear. It's messy, full of dead ends and false trails. Smithy even compares it to putting together a complex jigsaw puzzle.
You can't force the pieces you have to find which ones fit.
Precisely. You study the shapes, the edges, try different combinations. Rushing just leads to frustration and misconnections. The same principle applies in due diligence.
You have to be willing to sit with uncertainty to trust that the answers will reveal themselves in time.
Exactly. And that's often when those breakthroughs happen not in the heat of confrontation, but in those quieter moments of reflection, of carefully piecing together the information.
Because you're forced to re-examine the evidence, to consider new angles and dig a little deeper.
Exactly. That's where the power of dumb comes full circle. By approaching each interaction with genuine curiosity, admitting when you don't understand something, you create the space for those aha moments to occur.
It's like that saying, the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know.
Precisely. And that humility, that openness to new information is crucial. In a world obsessed with speed and instant gratification, Smithy reminds us of the power of patience.
Alan Smithy, whoever he is, has given us a lot to ponder. It's a reminder that sometimes the most effective approach is the one that goes against conventional wisdom.
Absolutely. In a world that prizes aggression and quick wins, Smithy's methods are a breath of fresh air. He reminds us that real success in investigations, and perhaps in life, often comes from mastering the art of subtle persuasion, keen observation, and unwavering patience.
It's not about being the loudest voice in the room, but the most attentive listener. Well, deep divers, we've reached the end of another deep dive. It's been fascinating unpacking the world of Alan Smithy. What are your thoughts on his unique approach? Have you ever used the power of dumb to navigate a tricky situation? Let us know. We always love hearing your stories. Until next time, keep those minds curious.